Welcome back to our channel. So we thought that we could actually save a lot of time if we filmed some things in the truck while we were traveling. This is one of our longer travel days that we've done. Overall, it's about 5 hours and we're on the second leg. So Colin drove the first leg, we just switched off. I'm driving the rest of the way, it's raining. Anyway, so we want to make sure we stay on top of campground reviews because I know a lot of you are interested in camping with your horses. And if you're like me, I like to know and research and be prepared before I go somewhere, especially with horses, because horses just make it so much harder. And if somewhere isn't suited to your horses, it can be really stressful.
Right. And it's hard to find really good information about these places online. Like, they just don't include all of the details that are actually relevant.
Yeah, and horse camping isn't like, a lot of people actually do it, but there's not a whole lot of information out there for people who are looking for more information. And so we wanted to review our last West Virginia campground, which was East Fork Campground in Durbin, West Virginia. So from the beginning, East Fork Campground has a really nice website that has a lot of information about what you can expect there. Let's start by ranking the horse facilities at East Fork Campground.
I would give the facilities a 9. They had 2 big paddocks where you could turn out the horses that were a little bit bigger. There wasn't grass in them or anything.
Well, there's not going to be grass. We've learned that.
Right.
Like, you can't expect for your horse to be on grass if you're out camping, unless you're primitive camping with your own electric fence and things like that. I just don't think it's realistic to think that your horse can be on grass.
Other than the paddocks, they had a ton of stalls. Since we didn't actually use our stall, we were able just to store hay in it because it was still technically reserved for us. So it was nice.
Yeah, I would give the horse facilities a 10 at East Fork. I think it was very geared towards horse riders, even though like non-horse people could camp there too. The horse facilities were very convenient. So for example, while it was expected for you to keep your horse in a stall, they did have turnout paddocks if you wanted your horse to get time outside just to where they could stretch their legs. There wasn't a whole lot of campers. Well, there were a lot of campers there, but we were kind of on like the tail end of the weekend. And so he just let me keep my horses out in the pen 24/7, out in the paddock. One thing I really liked is like there were, in one barn, there was like saddle racks near each of the stalls, which is really convenient because you don't think about it, but like lugging your tack from your trailer to the horse's area every time you want to ride is a lot of work. And so being able to kind of put it there, and then they have like hitching posts where you can tie up and brush your horse, and it was just a really nice vibe for the horses. And I appreciated like the amount of work the owner gave towards the horses and also making it horse friendly and really caring about the well-being of the horses there.
So the area where all the stalls are, that's kind of a separate fenced-in area, and then at night there's a door that you close to that area.
Like a gate.
Like a gate. So even if they did get out of that, they're still in a fenced-in enclosed area where they're not going to be able to get out.
Yeah, it's like a very secure campground. Now let's rate the camper amenities. At East Fork Campground, they have the option to have full hookups like electric, sewer, and water. We opted for a campsite near the river. Like, we were right on the river. It was beautiful. And we had water and electric. And so we ended up using the bathhouse when we had to go to the bathroom or to take showers and things like that. For me personally, I'm going to rate the camper amenities at a 10 because, first of all, the bathhouses were really nice and really clean. I would go in there at like 9 p.m. and then I would go back in there at like 8 a.m. maybe, and they had always been clean. There was just a lot of extra things for campers, like there was hay for sale, there was sawdust for sale, firewood for sale.
They had Wi-Fi.
You know, it was just very convenient camping.
Not to mention too, the owner, Tony, he was like really friendly, really knowledgeable. He's able to explain all the trails to you.
Oh, they had a horse trailer that you could like borrow or rent to go out to more trails. So that was really nice because when you have a trailer like this, that's massive and you can't really get into a lot of places, having a smaller trailer makes it easier.
My rating for the amenities too, I mean, I would give it a 9. I'm just saving my 10s for something that really like blows my socks off. It was really nice though, compared to every other horse campsite we've stayed at. It's probably my favorite of the ones we've stayed at.
And it was like It's in the town. So you can walk to some restaurants if they're open. That's the thing. Durbin is a very small town. It's a touristy town, but they get more of their tourists during the weekend. And so during the week, a lot of things were closed at certain times. So you
Like
just
Mondays, everything was closed.
Yeah, or like early in the evening. So you just have to be careful about when you go up there.
Right.
There's a laundromat too for the campground. So nice that people don't appreciate, especially when you're traveling full time. Like being able to wash your clothes is such a luxury, like not having to do it hand washing. We now are going to rate the trails. So we unfortunately, I feel like we didn't get out on as many trails as we wanted to there, mainly because Tucker just had a few problems at the beginning when we first got there. Like his feet were really sore, so we gave him some time off. And then he got sunburned, so he was a little sore from that. So we only got like a few good days of riding in. But from the trails we went on and from the trails I know you have access to from that point, I would give it a 9, probably. There's a wide array of trails that have like various expert levels. Like there's a novice trail that we rode just going down to the park. You know, it was maybe a mile long, very easy. Anyone could do that. There's a rail trail in Durbin that you can take that's supposed to be very nice. And then there's the Allegheny Trail, which is a little bit of a hike from the campsite, but that one's more for like advanced riders.
Oh, yeah.
Very stony, like you need shoes on.
I rode up there one day on my bike just to check it out, and it was very steep, very rocky. Would have been really hard to do with Tucker and Ruach, especially with Tucker's feet coming off of not feeling too
But that's
good.
okay. I mean, so you have a wide array of trails where like it caters to each level of rider. And then there's more trails that you can trailer out to. Like I know there's a Sasquatch trail, I think on top of the mountain there. Then we went to the Green Bank Observatory and rode, which was super fun. So there's trails all around there. You can go anywhere. And then the owner of the campground even let us go back on his personal property and ride around because he saw that we have a young horse with us and he knew we wanted kind of like wide trails.
And the bike too.
Yeah.
He knew it would be hard for me on some of the trails out there.
So he said, well, just go try out these trails. So we went out there. The reason I dock it is because to get to some of the trails, you have to ride across a road and into the town to access them. So if your horse isn't used to that environment, you know, that could be a little nerve-wracking because it is a busier road, I would say. Overall, still a very good experience. A lot of riding trails that I wish we could have gotten out to see, but we didn't. All right, Colin, do you want to rate the cost and value?
I believe the cost per night was $65. That was for our site that had electric and water, so no sewer drain or anything. And then we also had the 2 horses with us, so I guess that's factored into the price as well, right?
Yes, I believe so. Like for 2 stalls, that
for
was
2
included.
stalls, so 65. That's a little bit on the more expensive end based on just the few other campgrounds we've done. But as far as what you're getting, the quality of the campground, the amenities, the access to trails, I feel like it was a good value.
Yeah, I would say it was reasonable.
Yeah, I think it was reasonable.
Because, like I said, it was very top-notch. It was very convenient for campers. There's a lot of amenities. You know, Tony goes above and beyond to make sure you have everything you need. Another cool thing they do there, just talking to Tony, is they do a lot of stuff catered for horse riders, and that's like the community in general. Like they do a robbery day where they rob the train, and like horse riders can ride up to the train as the train goes by, and then they rob a bank, and then he was talking about they do a Western day.
And then this fall they're doing a scavenger hunt on horseback. So he said they had around like 25 or 26 people booked to come and participate in the scavenger hunt.
And beyond the campground, like West Virginia, especially that area, is very catered to horse riders. A ton of trails. There's just a ton of trails out there, and you could even like ride into town. You know, I think it's a great experience for someone looking for something like that. Because for me personally, I do like doing a ride where you just go out in the woods and come back. But to be able to like ride into town and then like go get lunch,
and ride the train.
Yeah, or go do something else. It just seems so much more fun. So I really appreciated that about West Virginia. Okay, now we are going to rate ourselves and the horses. So I give all of us a 10. for East Fork.
Oh my gosh, you're so generous.
That
with
was
your-
our second week camping. Although we're doing this a little bit later, so I can't really remember all the full details.
Coming from EJ's, we were all just a little tired from that big ride that we did. So I feel like that's one reason we didn't quite get to do as much as we wanted to do at East Fork, is we were just almost kind of recovering. Like those first couple of days, we really took it easy.
Yeah, but you can't dock us off for recovering. Like, that's
Right.
a normal part of...
Right.
I think the hardest thing for me was setting a schedule for myself, because I'm working online, and then I'm also doing school online. I'm getting my degree. And so, like, for a while there, I just really struggled on finding my rhythm and figuring out when to do things. And at first, like at the first campground, because the horses were in a smaller pen, I felt like I had to ride them twice a day so that they could get out and stretch their legs. But, like, I don't really feel like I need to do that anymore. And then we do long rides now, so.
Right.
Coming into East Fork when they had the outdoor paddock that was bigger, I didn't feel the stress of having to make sure they're worked. And so, you know, they got a few days off. I got a few days off. I appreciated that.
We had been using our air conditioning, and it was doing fine. But then it just sounded like it went kaput.
Oh, and the heater.
Like it just sounded like it died. So we thought it was dead and that it wasn't going to work. But alas, we left East Fork, went to the next campground, and it actually did work for us. So what we
Running on our generator.
figured out is we think it was just, I don't know, maybe we had too many things running, or it wasn't getting quite enough juice to run, because it would just stop after a few minutes.
Well, I think we were only on a 20 amp too. Like, maybe that was the problem.
Right.
'Cause we had all our computers plugged in, a crock pot plugged in, and then we tried to run the fan and it just wasn't working. If you haven't already, make sure you check out our YouTube Joiners, which is our membership, where we just post an extra video each week sharing more behind the scenes experiences on our cross-country travels.
I feel like it gives you a better idea of what it's really like being out here doing this, especially the last video that we did.
Oh yeah, it was very primitive camping that we'll
Right.
have. It's also a way, if you're wanting to support us but you don't really know how, the membership enables you to do that, and then we also want to give you something in return, and so that's why we put in the effort to make more content for you. So it's like you get something in return, we get something, and so hopefully we're all supporting each other. But it's more of like a tight-knit community there. Like, you have a badge, and so I know you're in the membership, and I'll be able to like comment back to you and stuff like that. And I also talk more about some controversial things that go on in the horse community, and just to talk and have discussion. And so you can check that out at the link in the description.